Hey, everybody. Good evening, and welcome. Welcome to Go There Third Thursday. I am your host, Rev Bernie, and I see some people on. Please, you can see me, I can't see you, so I would love to know you're here. Say something in the comment section on Facebook. We are so happy to have you on tonight. We're going to have a good time. My guest, she is no stranger, she is family. Her and my sister have been together forever. I want to say since either junior high or high school. Not that they're that old, but they have been like sisters, and we are just so connected. And I'm so excited. Please put your name in the chat so that we can definitely say hello to you on tonight. You read her bio, and if you haven't, I'd be glad to tell you a little bit about her. She is a mother, a small business owner, a mentor, an educator, and she is now an entrepreneur. And I am so grateful to have her join us all the way from ATL. And what she is doing, her business is the Curated Collective, and I love it. I love everything about it. I love how the Lord is just blessing her. Thank you for the heart. I love how the Lord is just blessing her on this journey, her son, her family. Hi, Eric. Nice to meet you. Good evening. Thank you. Thank you for the shout out. Just all that God is doing in this season. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, we do this every third Thursday. And every year we have a different theme. And this year's theme, last year was paying it forward, praying it forward. This year is strategy in your new season. And certainly some of us are in a new season, and we are seeking the Lord for strategy, for resources, for, whatever we need to make it happen. This is the year to make it happen. I don't care who's in the White House. We know who's in the big house. Amen. So hello, Latoya. Thank you. Thank you. Again, thank you for showing us the love. I'm so excited. I am excited to show you all some of her work. I don't know if you've seen this video before, but I'm excited to show it to you. The Curated Collective. Let's take a look now. Whoops. Let's see. Hi, Deenie. One
Hi.
sec. All right. Did you guys enjoy that? Well, welcome and our speaker on this evening. Hi, Deena Byfield. Hi, sweetheart.
I'm like, who claps for themselves? But
I love
that's,
it. And I love your work. That was
thank
wonderful.
you.
That
Thank
was
you.
wonderful. Now,
It was,
some of you saw the flyer before. We'll get back to that. That young lady is going to be at our anniversary, and Deena knows about the anniversary special. We were just talking about it, so I'll put that back up later because they're probably like, "Hey, who? What was that?" But hopefully, you got to enjoy the video. Tell us a little bit about this journey.
ooh, honestly, I was thinking about that the other day, and for me, it goes all the way back to when my son Adrian was turning 2.
Mm.
And I don't know if you guys remember, I'm pretty sure Vistaprint is still out there because I randomly saw a commercial, but I had done all these custom made like props and invitations and everything like that for his second birthday. It was like a Candyland theme or something.
Yeah.
And he still has the sign in his room to this day. And it was then that I knew that I loved to do parties, and I like to like I wanted it to be catered towards like not just the mass, but I wanted like I had a vision. I wanted to see what each person's vision was and to like work and pull from that.
Yeah.
And that was a million years ago, cuz right now he's like 45. And
Yeah.
so like it's like 16 going on 45. But, and it wasn't until, I mean, like now that I think back to that time, I'm like, oh my God, it started all those years ago, like throwing family parties. I was
Yeah.
a real mom for years. The
Yeah.
kids were like, you give the best parties, like twice a year, you're going to come in and shut it down, And so, and for so long, you're told to go this certain route, like be a
Mhm.
doctor, be a lawyer, do this, and they're all great. Listen, don't get me wrong, people, we need them. But I was stuck in that box for a really long time and
Mhm.
not knowing that I had all these other talents and all these other dreams that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's how it started a million years ago with that
Wow.
weird Candyland thing that we
And
still
so
think about.
yeah, and somewhere in between there, then and now, we got together.
Yes. Yes. So, if you guys are not already following Bernadette and like all the amazing things that she's doing, please, 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 please do yourself a favor and run, not walk, over to all of her platforms and follow all of them. Shameless plug.
Shame.
But so yeah, years ago, my best friend Candace, who I hope is here,
Yes,
was
you did.
was t- she was telling me, like you have this university like where you are teaching event planners all about the business. And I was
Mhm.
just like, oh, okay, is it gonna be a little weird because like Bernadette is like technically my big sister, like is it just going to be an odd experience? And it was amazing. It was, I mean, you challenged me. I still have the notes in my little frozen like spiral book. And I'll go back in there, and the notes are horrible. I need to translate them because I'm pretty sure I wrote them in like hieroglyphics, but they're terrible. But I still go back through and I'm like, I'm still reading those notes 7 years after that
Yeah.
journey with you, and still finding nuggets that I was like, at the time, I was like, this doesn't matter. Like, oh, LLC, Bernadette, stop it. I just want to do parties, And
And now you
so,
realize, right, why you need an LLC and why you
right,
need a contract and all
right.
those things. It's so
Yeah.
important,
Yeah.
so very important.
And you
So,
just don't think about it, and I'm just there and I'm like, okay, she's going to teach me like how to make everything so beautiful. We're going to do balloons, and I'm like, this is going to be so amazing. And it was, but I'm like, it was just
then it was
amazing for like for different reasons,
right.
Because like the creative information is out there if you seek it, but like
Mhm.
that business and that technical and your world, like your real world experience that you have being in the field was more valuable than like teach me how to do balloons, or like how do
Yeah,
I do a Windsor knot with napkins? You know what I mean? So like,
exactly.
yeah,
We can
so it
get a
was
YouTube video on that.
right.
Yeah, and that's why it is so important. I mean, everybody needs somebody to show them,
Mhm.
if I want to go where you are. I need to sit under you. I need to learn from you. I need to pick your brain, your mind, and stuff like that. And so I had to do it,
Right.
and I'm grateful for it.
Yes.
And even, after 20 years, us celebrating our 20th anniversary last October, we're still learning. Thank you. We
Mm-hmm.
are still learning. We are still growing, because in this business, it's just like a hairstylist, right? Back in the day, and I'm probably dating myself now, it was straightening combs. Anybody
Mm-hmm.
remember the straightening comb? It was straightening combs. It wasn't even perm, let alone a good wig. But it was straightening combs. Okay, your
Mm-hmm.
mother, you sat in the kitchen and they straightened your hair, and that's how you made it look all beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And if the person who did that never evolved and learned how to do perms and learn how to do braids and
Mm-hmm.
learn, all these other things now, where would they be?
Right.
A hairstylist with a license and no business,
Right.
because things evolve. And in
Right.
this business, as you know, and what I love about what you're doing is it lends itself to so many different areas. So I do weddings and I do events, and the event part, obviously, because a wedding is a wedding, but the
Mm-hmm.
event part is massive. It could be a
Mm-hmm.
family reunion. It could be, a trip, a day camp, and the parents are coming in and they want you to do
Right.
something. Same thing for you.
Right.
You've had some opportunities afforded to you because people see your work, and your
Yeah.
work speaks for you people. You don't have to worry about, signing up, putting your name here and there. When you do good work
Mm-hmm.
and you're amiable and pleasant to be with, it speaks volumes. I don't know why I'm looking at the comments as if people want to say something. Literally like focusing in, like I want to call names out. Your work speaks for you. I had someone, I did their wedding like 7, 8 years ago, and the maid of honor had a friend getting married from the UK, and she contacted me from
Wow.
the from London, saying, I'm
That's
getting
powerful.
married in Central Park in the city. I would love, love, love for you to do our wedding.
Nice.
I'm not even in contact with the bride and groom, anymore. They got married, moved
Mhm.
away, had children,
Right.
but your work and how
Mm-hmm.
you treat people. And in our business, that's more than half of what we
Everything.
do. We are the face of our business.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be a pleasurable experience if, we didn't have that personality to go along with the pretty
Right.
balloons like the one in your background.
my my 2-month-old balloons, by the way. I always get, comments. I'm thinking about doing like a workshop on that, because everyone's like,
Mhm.
you still have I still have balloons from years ago,
Still
and I
gravitas.
just spruce them up, and so it can be done. Do not let people tell you that it can't. If you're a good, and I don't claim to be a balloon artist, but I'm a balloon artist adjacent. But if
Listen.
you're good at what you do, and your techniques are good, you can too be like me.
Definitely, definitely. And we all start from somewhere.
Mhm.
And that's what I love about last year. All the people that joined us last year, they were at different phases in their business. Some were along the line and giving back to the community. Others were getting started. Others needed a push, and sometimes we need a push, right? We get
Mhm.
to a point where we're not sure what's next, or which way we should go. Like there's so many opportunities out there, and you never want to let the enemy speak to you and say, girl, everybody doing balloons. What you doing? What you doing? No, you doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
You
Right.
know, you are one raindrop in the pond, and all of it's gonna make water. It's gonna make the pond, and so
Mhm.
you've got to just stay focused
Right.
on what you're doing and not be. And this is for everyone, and not be, let the challenges be just that. It's a challenge. They say you can't. You say you can. With God's help, you can do all things. And just keep it moving. Now, tell us without, we're not going to say any names. I know that
Mhm.
you recently did, because I saw it and we saw it on the video. You recently
Mhm.
did the balloons for a mega church in ATL.
Yes.
And I was
Yes.
like, oh my gosh. I was like, yay, that's my intern. I
All
love it.
right. Like you said, no name dropping, but But yeah, that was an experience. So we were called to do a booth for an occasion, and oh, I see my professor is here. Hi, Dr. White. So
I
we
Dr.
So we ended up doing a booth for a breast cancer awareness
White.
event that we were doing, and we won first place. So that was a collaborative effort, a collective. We all came together and curated. See what I'm doing here?
Yep.
Something together, and
Yes.
then like you say, word of mouth, like who someone in my small group was like. You have these balloons. We need to go see if we can connect you with someone in the church. And literally the next day I'm up at the crack of dawn, like decorating the outside and being like having all these thousands of patrons coming in and seeing, because my work was the first thing that they saw
Wow.
walking through the door, and going
Wow.
through Facebook and being able to see that people like interacting with something that you knew that you did, and people
Yes.
reposting you. Just, it was amazing. And you
Right.
just don't think about that from like, oh, we're all going to get together and we're just going to throw things together and like,
Hmm.
and even from that experience, I've had so many people say, yeah, you did you see what she did over there? Like, that was amazing. You need to call her, or you need to collaborate with her, or whatever it is. And I'm so humbled by that because, as a creator, like you get in your head, and sometimes you're like, maybe I'm not as
Hmm.
good as I think I am, or maybe I'm not as good as, like, your mom is always like, oh my God, girl, you put four balloons up, and those four balloons are the best.
Right. They are your fan for sure. Definitely.
Right. And you're looking like, Mom, that was a hot mess. Why are you egging this on? And so
Yeah.
to see other people who may not have that same vested interest in
Hmm.
you in that way, like pour
Hmm.
back into your baby, you just it's come full circle. And that's what I think is important. That's why I was so happy when you were like, do you want to be on my show? I'm like, what show? Like, what do you
It's the
mean?
moment. And we started this in COVID. Like this literally was supposed to be a 1 day conference. 1 day. And
Wow.
now it's turned into 5 years and over 60 speakers.
Oh,
Who knew?
amazing.
And the young lady that, again, we'll share the fly at the end, she was the one that pivoted us because I wasn't on Facebook. I didn't know about Facebook Live. We were talking about that off camera, Facebook Live or any of that. And now look at God. We're both utilizing this platform. This is StreamYard. So we're not directly Facebook Live. We're going through StreamYard. But what StreamYard allows you to do is custom or curate the look of your
Yes.
broadcast. Yeah.
Yes, spread the word. Everything has to be curated. Everything original,
Absolutely.
all
That
of it.
is the
Oh,
buzzword.
my advisor's on here. Hi, Dr. Sherry. Oh my gosh, I'm so
Hi.
excited.
Well, listen, we wanted them to be here, to be present, to hear your story. For those, again, that don't know, that this is a passion of yours. This is something that you love to do. And I think that too makes a difference. We have day jobs and we have other things that we're doing. But when you are passionate about something, it's the love and for people and
Mhm.
stuff like that that you do it for. And so in this business, it's so, so, so important to make that connection. People feel it. They
Mhm.
feel, when I meet my clients initially, even over Zoom, I had a client say, I feel like peaceful. I feel like in the chaos of wedding planning and event, doing events and stuff, you're going to be the peace in the room.
Mhm.
Said, there you go.
Oh,
So you'll get that
so.
feedback, right? And just internalize that because there will be those moments that you spoke about where you start getting in your head and start challenging yourself and thinking, wow, out of all 10,000 people that go to that mega church, they
Mhm.
chose me. But flip that and
Mhm.
say, wow, out of
Right.
all those
All
people,
those people.
I took the initiative and said, and followed the lead of someone that said, you need to get in front of A, B, and
Mhm.
C. What if you had said, no, I'm not ready. I'm scared. I'm
Yes.
fearful. Because all of those are valid, when you're starting out in business, those are valid things,
Mhm.
but you took that step.
Mhm.
And look at
I was
everybody
going home
so
with
proud of
all of those. I was literally going home with all of those balloons, putting them back in the car. And she was like, "No, you don't." She was like, "We just won first place for this booth that you did with
right.
us.
Yeah.
So get in there and let them know, like, we did this, but this
Yes.
is what you do."
That
And
part.
I was like, okay, I only have 1,000 balloons. I guess they all can't fit in my car, like I'll just, what am
Exactly.
I gonna do? Oh my gosh, my other advisor's on here. Okay.
Yes.
Hi.
It
Hi
is.
everybody. Hi Dr. P.
Thank you
Hi
all for
Al.
doing that. Yeah.
Hi Michelle.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Now I'm
Because
done.
no, that's fine. Because a lot of it, like I said, is personality, and it doesn't matter. We can have 10 balloon artists, 10 wedding planners in a room. It's your personality
Wow.
that's going to make the difference. It's the God in you that's going to make the
Mhm.
difference, and your faith and believing in yourself.
Mhm.
Really believing in yourself. We are definitely open to comments, as I've been putting them up, but we're also open to questions. So Cassandra, Latoya, Mallory, Phaedra, Nicola, like all of you, Michelle, Alexandria, please, if there is a question that you have, in the same way that making these comments, just put it there, and I can present that question right on the screen. While you are thinking of that question or that comment, I'm going to share, because she got this social media thing down. All right. So I definitely want to share her work, starting out with her website. For those that have not yet taken a look, she has a beautiful website at the curatedcollective.info. So
Mhm.
we definitely want you to, check out her work. And let's say you may not, and this is what I found too, you may not have need of the service at this moment, but everybody knows somebody that's throwing a party for someone,
Right.
someone's child, someone's parent, their anniversary, themselves, a birthday party. And I'm sure, you work within a price, range, or, something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that, because I have literally seen balloon artists, and I'm saying to myself, that probably costs as much as the wedding
Oh my God.
when I look at what they do. And you mentioned the word humble. I think that makes such a difference. So please share that with us.
So I am starting. I know I always say I'm starting off. I have been, working under a company name of for a few years now. And
Mhm.
honestly, to go back to what you were saying about needing that push, when you asked me to come on the show, I was like, the business is just in this like plateau stage. Like we have slowed. I haven't really been doing my part to get it out there.
Mhm.
And I just felt like under that name, under that like just being under that same website and that company was like kind of dragging me down a little bit. So I
Okay.
decided to pivot to what you see here today. And I think it's given me like that fire, to like to
So,
do more things, to collaborate with more people, to get out there and like and kind of embrace some of these larger things that I was kind of shying away from in the
mhm.
beginning. So I always say I hate like I see all of these like balloon lists and they have like the pricing and this and you see like what did this cost and what did that cost and that's beautiful. Like I hope to
Mhm.
one day be able to get to that status where it's like pay me all of this for whatever it is. For me, I cater a lot of my packages to what that person wants
Mhm.
and I'm always like what is your budget? What is your vision and how can we work within that budget to get you what you want? And
Right.
for me as a single mom, one income, taking care of a son, that music to my ears, you know what I mean? Because I'm
Right.
like we are
We're
having this
empathetic.
party,
We understand. Right.
right? We're having this party and I'm sure some people can attest to this like
Yep.
some of
Eric's one.
these oh yes. Thank you. Thank you, cousin. Yes, we are. We are throwing. That is, I guess I'll say that. Thank you, Eric, for pointing that out. I do have a huge event coming up. It is the baby shower for my niece that's coming at the in June of this year.
Mhm.
And it is a huge, huge undertaking, but it's so much fun. And to be able to like to be able to see it go from conception to like now we're a week out,
Yeah.
and I'm doing all custom props, custom designing,
Last.
working a little bit with my cousin. That
Um,
one, yes, that's there. Um, who is more so just when we say working, are we working together? I'm working with his lovely wife, Latoya, who is
see,
on here as well. So, but just, just being able to, because I remember, and I hope it's okay, Latoya, if I share this with everyone. When we first started talking, she was like, I've had this theme in mind for a long time, and now that I'm having a girl, I want to see if we can do it. And I remember as we were going through, it's kind of like a niche. I won't share what it is because I'll just
right,
wait for you,
right,
let the cat out the bag later. But
right.
it's kind of like a niche area or like something that you can get ideas on, but it's not really done a lot. And
Mhm.
so we were thinking about pivoting. And, when she was like, I think we should do this because we can find more inspiration on this. And I was
Mhm.
like, no, I think we can be the inspiration for
Right.
this.
There you
And so
go.
I was like,
There
this
you
is
go.
great because we don't want to fall into the comparison trap.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if
Right.
we know what we want it to look like and what we don't want it to look like and pull from other people, we can be the inspiration that somebody's looking for when they decide they want to do this too. So I was like, challenge accepted.
There you go.
Let's do this, So
High five. I
so I was
love
like, whatever it looks like, let's go ahead and do it.
that's what's
Like there's
my
a
part.
first for everything.
My that's my goddaughter's picture, Dakota, but I know it's Debbie, her mom, which is my bestie, and my yes, Auntie Debbie is there, my ride or die, and
Right.
yeah, she's been with me since the beginning. She's
Yes.
seen it, and that's something we talked about too. No man is an island. And
Hmm.
so while Deena is, the one, the mastermind thinking, God forbid she's working on something and she's not feeling well, or
Hmm.
Adrian is not doing well and she needs to be there, or mom.
Hmm.
So my pastor would always say, my bishop, I should say, my pastor is here with us, but my bishop would always say, you want to leave this earth empty. In other
Mm.
words, who are you teaching this to? Who are you,
Mm.
who's gleaning from you so that as you 10 years down the line, now you calling the shots and they doing the work.
Right.
You coming on board to the, to the event and stuff. You the David Tutora. You're
Right.
saying, oh yes, no, move that there. Uh-huh.
Yes.
Oh, I like that. That was a good idea. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because you want to grow. You want to
Hmm.
move up and you want to, have people just, the same that are gleaning and learning. And then they
Hmm.
want to be you. And then they'll
Right.
have people. And that's how we
Right.
keep it going. It's
Yeah.
called legacy.
Oof.
My sister would have no parts of my legacy
I know.
when it comes to Kairos because she's
That was
seen.
the first thing I was thinking. I was like, well, maybe it's gonna skip over Candace, but you
Exactly.
have you have touched so many people that I will touch Candace for you, and I'll see if
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
can just flick
Speaking
it
of,
onto her.
yes, here she is, and she does have a question. And
Uh-huh.
again, those that are just joining in, please feel free to post your question so I can put it up. As an
Ooh.
entrepreneur, student, caregiver, parent, friend, etc., she's talking about you. How do you balance work life? What advice would you give to someone who's
Mm.
thinking about starting their own business but unsure how to get started or where to begin? Excellent. Excellent.
Okay.
Go full jam.
Okay. What work-life balance? No, I'm kidding. No, it's absolutely there. I always tell people I find myself when I have downtime is
Mhm,
usually, what do they say? The devil finds work for idle hands. Like that is usually when my thoughts are rampant,
mhm,
when you can it's horrible. And so when I'm in my busiest season, I find the best thing that I can do is I journal a lot and I write down
mhm,
everything that I need to do. Like everything. And honestly prioritize. And so
mhm,
for me, for a long time, it was so scary because, my mom's always like, she's like, you take care of me, you have a son. I'm a full-time student.
That's
I
what keeps me saying.
teach. You know, like
Yeah.
I teach. I'm a student. I'm a teacher, teaching assistant as well. Like, how does it all get done? And now you want to do balloons on the weekend and do all these other stuff too, right? And so honestly, I take a lot of that inspiration from you, Bernadette, because I'm pretty sure you don't sleep. I require sleep. I do. I
Yeah.
just got
24/7.
from a very healthy nap before I came on here.
Okay.
Um, yes. And so how it works for me is that, back in the day when I was in my we're not gonna say what age it is, but I was able to go through the night and stay up and study, stay up and do events and stay up. So now more than anything, I listen to my body
Yeah.
and I get that rest that I need. I make sure that I'm pouring into me, like my mind, body, and soul,
Yeah.
everything. So there are times where I will step away from the computer. It doesn't matter if I want to stay up all night. And Eric and Toya can attest to this. I stayed up all night and did their mock up. And you know that as an entrepreneur, you get so
Yeah.
into your work that you're like, oh, it's 4 a.m. You know what I mean?
Realize
And
it.
right. And so now I'm like, I can be no service. I can't show up in any of these spaces at all
Mhm.
if I don't pour into myself, like if I'm not 100%. And that sounds so cliche as I say it now, but like that's the only way. Speaking from someone who, for at least a year back in
Mhm.
2023, was just sick on and off, because
Wow.
I wasn't listening to my body. I wasn't, getting the rest that I needed, checking on myself. I was like, I have to go to school. I have to do these events. Mommy needs me. Adrian needs me. And it
Mhm.
was never like, You need you,
You. Yeah.
because if
Yeah.
you're not here, there is no, curated
Put your
collective.
mask on first and then
Right.
help the person to your right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. We learned
So
something.
the best way that I balance is I even like, I'll go in and schedule like time off, like
Mhm.
within the day where I'm like,
Blackout days.
you got 1 hour to do these emails. And then after that, you are going to watch 2 hours of The Resident or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Just
Right.
so that I can get
Just to,
that
yep.
time,
Yep.
to myself. And what I say about beginning is I'm like, I look at this post all the time from, I think it was like a post of like a timeline of like all these people that started their business like later on in their lives. And like
Hmm.
Steve Jobs was one of them. I think he was like 35 when he started Apple. They said Colonel Sanders was like in his 80s when he started KFC,
Oh my.
and like while I would hope that in my 80s I don't say, you know what, I think I'm gonna do this, but I always tell people like whatever it is, whatever time it is,
Yeah,
there's no timing like God's timing. And
that's right.
so you may
Kairos.
start
That's what
right.
Kairos means. God's timing.
Like you may start something and you may have to restart and restart and restart.
Yes.
And that's just what's going to happen. And that timing, like when it hits on all cylinders, you'll notice like every door, there's not a door that is not going to start opening. Like
Mhm.
you get to one door and you're like, you could see
Yep.
three doors ahead that you're like, oh, wait a minute, there's something going on there too that I need to get into, so
Yeah.
it's beautiful. It's,
Oh, I
I don't
thought
know
that
if that
was
answered
great.
the question, but
No, that answered it great. I thought you lost me. I'm like, I
oh,
told you the lights would go out in here. I'm
what?
like, yo, what is happening?
I
I've
was
never
like,
got
just keep
camera.
talking until she
You
gets
keep
back.
talking. Exactly. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, that was excellent. Candace, I hope that answered your question. That was a lot of information.
Yes.
And yeah, at different points, I think it's also good when you're starting out in a business. You want to make sure you surround yourself. If you don't have, let's say, a staff, if you have a staff, obviously you're picking and choosing people like mindedness that are
Mhm.
for you, that are pushing you and positive.
Mhm.
But if they're not your staff, they could be, other people that doing the same thing or something similar in the business, or they don't have to be. It could just be someone
Mhm.
that wants to see you win. They're not jealous. They undergird you, you support them. It
Mhm.
works together. And so I think that's important too for when the difficult times come, different things you may have to go, through. I think, as far as stability, and that's one of the things that sustain Kairos is because we've always had a good staff and a good like circle of people that would support and would be there. And that I know I can lean on. I can cry. I can say, "Oh, I don't know. I don't think we did so well," or if I got poor feedback or something like that, which never happened.
Right.
Um,
I was like,
it
poor
may not be,
feedback.
I wouldn't say poor, I would say, if somebody felt, well, maybe this could be done a little bit differently,
Hmm. Hmm.
and afterthought. And you take the criticism and you use it to your
Right.
advantage. You turn things around and you don't, wear your feelings on your sleeve. Like you say, okay, yes, I can see that point. I
Hmm.
can look at that a little bit differently. Maybe I will try it that way next time because that's how you also grow your business.
Right.
Don't come in thinking you've got all the answers.
Hmm.
We're 20 years in the game and don't have all the answers. More
Yeah.
than 20 years. We're 20 years paying Uncle Sam.
Right.
But we are a lot more than 20 years in the game. And by no means. And I too am an Instagram follower of people. And I look at things and I'm like, ooh, I wish I
I
could do
know.
that. Like,
No,
and then I
don't do
hear the
it.
Holy Spirit say, but you can. Right.
Hmm.
You just need the resources and the people
Hmm.
I don't have somebody down in my garage sewing things together to make beautiful
Right.
backdrops. But if you partnered with someone like that,
Right.
that's how they got started. And a
Hmm.
lot of businesses I'm finding out, and maybe this was just 2024, it's a family affair.
Oh my gosh.
It's the husband and the wife. The husband's the carpenter. The wife does balloons and
Hmm.
backdrops and pretty things like that. The oldest daughter, she does the decor, the linens and rentals. And I'm like,
Hmm.
well, come on here now. Keep it all in the family.
I
Once
know.
again, Candace will have no part of the business, but that's okay. I don't know how Adrian feels about things. We had a time just tell him go upstairs and
I know.
get out
he
the
he he is a minor, and he does remind me about labor laws and how, you
room.
know, how it I should not have him putting together 50 chairs, or he's like, this is not my business. And so it stings, and I'm like, I try to be nice because he is my non-employee or non-paid employee. And so at the moment I'm like, I'm gonna take your unnice comments, and I'm just gonna let it just,
Yeah, yeah.
just like roll off of.
It's going to be
Yeah.
better. Yeah, things are going to be better because you're going to realize
Right.
this job is
Right.
going to get you some stuff
I
that you've been
know.
asking for.
Yeah.
Mhm. But yeah, yeah. No, when I started out as well, everybody, mommy had to sell tickets at the door, like take the money for the tickets.
Yeah.
Candace
Oh,
had to do stuff. Yeah, no, it was
wow.
definitely everybody pitching in, and helping out. This one needed to pick on something, needed to pick up balloons. Help me to get the balloons because we need more than one car to put all these
Mhm.
balloons in. So, definitely. Let's see if there's any. He's just like his aunt. Candace, that came from Candace.
I know. I know.
But yeah, everybody pitches in. Again, you want to be around people who want to see you win.
Mhm.
And if you're winning and they're winning, it's like, listen, we're all here for one another.
Right.
You're doing what you're doing. They may have another, and I don't let people, yes, I have a day job, 26 years in running,
Mhm.
but my wedding and event planning business is not a side hustle.
Mhm. Ooh.
Watch that.
It is so
Hello.
important that you say that, because I
Uh,
was just thinking, because I found myself in this weird space that I was in, a couple of months ago, saying things like, they're like, "Oh, I heard that, you do events." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I have like this little a planning event
see,
business on the
this
side."
is what you're doing to it.
And right,
Mhm.
and literally I would be doing this. And so eventually I was like, no, but then, I would get that feedback from people, and they're like, no, you do really good work. Like, we come to your house, like the attention to detail when we're at these parties is amazing. And I'm still like, but is it though? Like, I don't know. And so now in this season, I'm like, when someone says to me, like, I saw your work here, or you did this and it was beautiful, and I want you to do this for my cousin. And I'm like,
Mhm.
yes, yes, it was beautiful. Even if in the back of my mind, I'm like, one of the balloons
Speak
popped,
it.
you didn't see that. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like in my
It
mind, this
really
is what
has
I'm
to.
thinking.
Right. You know
But
how to move it through it. Yeah.
and I'm also just like, it is not, while I am, we would consider a small business owner, I'm like, there's nothing small about my vision and the
Woo.
plans that I have for the future. And so I'm just like screaming it. When people
That's
are
it.
like
That's
balloons,
it.
I'm like, I do those, when they're like, I have a baby shower coming up. I'm
Mhm.
like, I do baby shower, so I'm like,
Mhm. In the grocery store, at the hairdresser, wherever you find yourself getting gas. Mhm.
every time they're like,
Out.
introduce yourself and what is your fun fact? I'm like, my name is Deena. I am this, that in my regular life. And I'm also an event and decor specialist. And that is what I do. And they're like, okay.
Listen.
And even if it means nothing in that room, in the
Mhm.
back of their mind, they're like, oh, that's interesting.
Praise
And I
God.
planted that seed, you know what I mean? And so hearing it a bunch of times, like, because I'm like, no one else I hear talks about their business, doesn't matter how small it is, that they're like,
Right.
I
Nobody
do
does that.
hair, like I do a little hair, I do a little
Exactly.
nail.
You don't even want to put that in the atmosphere.
Yes.
I remember one time I was, for those that don't know, I'm also a preacher, one of the many hats that Deena spoke about. I'm also a minister. And I remember sharing with them how God just gave me, don't let people put a period in
Mm,
your life where there should be a comma.
yes.
You're not done.
Mm-mm.
You're not done. And even with, the curated collective, you don't know where this is going to go.
No.
I think of, for those that are familiar with the knot, how they started with the knot for weddings, then they did the nest for homes,
Mhm.
home buying and retail, real estate, and then the bump for the baby. That's
Oh,
marketing genius. Because I'm a
yes.
marketing major, marketing genius, meaning
Wow.
we're going to capture all of that. We're
All
not
of it.
just, because hopefully the wedding is the wedding and it's over, right? So
Mhm.
then how do you get more business out of that?
Right.
They just expand it.
Right.
So one of the things that I'm looking into, and your friend, is real estate. Because if someone's trusting me with $50,000, $100,000 weddings,
Mm.
that's your down payment for
Right.
your house. So
Poorhouse.
if you
Right.
trusted me on that, and I know my stuff on this, why wouldn't you come to me or give me a shot?
Exactly. Hmm.
So yeah, I have to push the button, but yeah, I need to start my 77-hour course this year. I'm gonna get that license before the year is up. Because you gotta put it in the atmosphere. You
That's
gotta
it.
speak those things and put it in the atmosphere. Well, we're gonna wrap up. We are so thankful. People have stayed on, they have stayed
Yes.
engaged.
Thank you
I'm loving
guys.
it. I'm getting, great feedback. It is just wonderful having you on. I know you are a breath of fresh air. And I'm not saying that because you're my sister's friend, but because I've gotten to know you and love you also as my niece, like y'all, all my little sisters and nieces.
Burn.
Um, and
I have
yeah,
makeup on,
you know, I'm,
please.
yeah, I'm ready to put you on a plane and bring you on for our anniversary special, when we
Yes.
do it, because we're actually going to finally have that conference.
Wow.
May 31st. Matter of fact, I'll throw it up right now so everybody can see. Yeah. And Taylor, Elder
Yes.
Taylor Banks, one of my nieces in the spirit, in the church, she is the one, as I said, that pivoted us to this platform, that told me about StreamYard, told me about doing broadcast. And I'm like, huh? I was literally, this was in 2020. So we were in the thick of COVID, and I'm
Wow.
sitting on boxes and I'm trying to pack up my apartment. And she was like, well, Auntie Bernbert, I know we didn't get to do the conference, but why not put it on Facebook? I'm like,
Hmm.
Facebook, what are we doing?
Right.
Because it was totally new for me. And I stepped out there. And little did I know, a conference that would have had, about a half dozen speakers turned into, 5 years later, over 60 speakers, one for every month, at least one.
Wow.
And then we had panel discussions. Well, we got creative because, again, we were all in COVID, so everybody was
Right.
home. So all
Right.
you had to do is tell them, hey, I'm going on, and people
And
would
they're
support.
off.
And here we
Hmm.
are. So it just felt right having this young woman of God come back and bless us and speak to us about strategy and how to take that next step and not be fearful. Whatever your passion is, whatever your thoughts are, whatever your dreams are, how do we move to that next step?
Mhm.
And so if you guys, even though this podcast is ending, if you have any thoughts, if you need that inspiration, if you need someone to talk to, please, I'm sure Deena in her own way will get back to you. You know her, but I'm also opening up myself. DM me, let me know, because, just like Taylor for me was the people pusher and pushed me, I'm ready to push others. I've been pushing others to say, hey, you can do it. I've got your back, and I believe in you. And sometimes that's all we need. So, on that note, I'm going to give my speaker the last words of the evening. And again, thank you. Thank you, Cliff, for joining us.
Yes, love you guys too.
Yeah.
Um, I was, how do you wrap this up? Because I was thinking of so many things. I wrote it in my phone and I was like, I'm just going to say this like amazing thing to like close everything down. And the only thing I could just think it, like, I just kept thinking, like to your point about the commas, like, as a Black woman, as the child of immigrants, like we're not a monolith. You know what I mean? Like I'm not just here to do one thing. I know I have my colleagues on here that are like, I thought you were an anthropologist. You know what I mean? Like I thought that you were all about Jamaican archaeology, and I 100% am. But that's not. For so long, I've been painted into a box about like what I can and cannot do.
Mhm.
And for me, more than anything else, like everything that I do, I do it for my son because I know I have those set of eyes looking up at me. And if he could see me getting up every day, taking care of him, taking care of his grandmother, going to school, mastering it, not that I want to toot my own horn, but building this business, still
Yeah.
showing up to every meeting that he has on time, making sure that I spend my time with him. I know that in my mind, like I never want to say like you can do anything, like, oh, you can do anything, we can fly, we can do this, because obviously we have our limits, but I've been limited for so long that I'm so unapologetically not gonna do that anymore.
Come.
And so this is me, and
Hey,
so I'm so excited. I just want to thank all of you
reaching.
guys for being here. I've always been so humbled by the village of people who are like always on board, no matter what it is, what kind of kooky scheme I've come up with. They're like, whatever it is, like we're here for you. And that more than anything has completely humbled me in ways that I can't even begin to thank them for. So those are my wonderful words of wisdom that I have right now.
Well
That's it.
said. Thank you all again. You can join us every third Thursday. We have wonderful speakers like our speaker tonight, who is just so blessed, and we're so happy to have you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You stay there, but we're going to say good night to everyone. Love you all. Have a blessed evening.